Hey everyone, it's McKeown back with another vlog this week. I wanted to give you guys a quick update of this house. I've been here for about 10 months now, and if you've been following my journey, you know the entire situation that came about this house. I was actually wanting to live downtown, spend about $300,000 to $400,000. However, a year and a half, $300,000 to $400,000, or I guess 2 years ago, year and a half to 2 years ago, $300,000 to $400,000 in downtown Dallas was going to get me really nothing of what I would be happy with. So lo and behold, I wound up kind of increasing my price point to the tone of this actually costing me over $600,000. But there's more to that story in itself. So just give you guys a quick update. If you haven't been following me, I custom built this house from the ground up and moved in October. Been here for about 10 months, but I do have a roommate and I also have a custom Airbnb suite. So since I have been Airbnb-ing out my private Airbnb suite, I wanted to give you an update on that. I also wanted to give you an update just overall price point and where I sit with my note, as well as how much income I'm generating from my own house. All right, so dating back to last December, that's when I got my Airbnb fully furnished. That's when I got it on Airbnb and I started getting consistent rentals at that time. I was paid out about $1,483. That's the total for 2020, being that it was in December. Then fast forwarding to this year. Now the total in January was better than any month except for the month that just passed in June. Mainly because I had someone stay there for the entire month. Now, I would say I could definitely do a little bit better in terms of occupancy with my Airbnb. Almost every single weekend it's booked, but it's hard to get people to come and visit for just it's really just a bedroom and a bathroom for the weekdays, but every single weekend it's booked. So February, March, April, May was consistently about $1,500, and then I had a huge month last month with almost $2,500. Now July is starting to be a little bit slower, but again, even if you take last month and July as it stands right now, I'm still averaging $1,500 a month. Now I did mention again that I have a roommate. My roommate pays me $1,350 a month plus an average of about $1,500 a month. You're talking about $2,850 a month that I'm getting from my Airbnb suite and my roommate. So with a total combined income with my roommate as well as my Airbnb suite, I'm getting about $2,850 a month. Now, if you do include months like January, or if you include months like last month where I got $2,500 plus the additional $1,350 that I got from my roommate, I'm paying maybe $400 or $500 a month. Usually I'm paying $1,200 a month to own my own house. Now, when all is said and done, when I purchased this house, if you're including closing costs as well as the purchase price, I paid about $650,000 for this house. Now, fast forward 10 months, I would say I could probably sell it for $750,000 to $770,000. It is a little bit unique with the fact that I do have a private balcony on my master bedroom as well as a private Airbnb suite. Also, the market is starting to cool here a little bit, so I would say, being very generous, I could probably sell it for $750,000. However, I did get a 15-year note. Now, I mentioned before my mortgage is almost $4,300 or $4,400. It seems like that's excessive. It is a 15-year note though. And I knew by taking a 15-year note at the time, it was going to be larger than obviously a 30-year note, but my intent was to apply all of my money that I'm getting from my Airbnb as well as my roommate and apply that to my mortgage, pay it down as quick as I can, and leverage the equity that I have in my house to invest further. So I did put 20% down on this house. Initially, when I started constructing this house, I was gonna put 3 or 5% down. However, I went the route, having done very well with real estate last year, went ahead and put 20% down. So I've got a good amount of equity already built in because of my down payment, appreciation, as well as a 15-year note on this property. I'm sitting at about $487,000 in terms of just a complete payoff right now for my note. So at this point, I could actually take out a HELOC. If you're unfamiliar with what a HELOC is, it's a home equity line of credit. Basically what that is taking a line of credit against the equity in my house, taking that, and a lot of people remodel their house. A lot of people use that money maybe to pay off debt, and you have to pay that money back, but it's usually at a decent interest rate. Now, that home equity line of credit is something that I'm planning to do in the future. I could probably pull out about 100 to maybe 130 right now, but my intent is to continue to pay this house off with the large mortgage that I have, and I'm sitting maybe a third of the way through my 15-year note, 5 years into my 15-year mortgage note, and I'm gonna have a significant amount of money that I can pull out with a HELOC, and then I can apply that to maybe even a commercial apartment complex. Now, I have learned a lot about renting out on Airbnb. There are definitely some pros and cons to renting out on Airbnb versus a long-term rental. Now, on the plus side of things, I don't have to deal with them inside of my house like my roommate. Now, my roommate, I've been fortunate enough to have a good roommate, so it's not really a hassle as is, but there are definitely going to be times if you're house hacking a house and you get a couple roommates, you really don't know if they're going to be good or bad, and lo and behold, you wind up with a bad roommate. The beauty about Airbnb is they're honestly here for the weekend, and if they're good or bad, they're gone by the end of the weekend. Now, I did have a little change of plans regarding the house that I'm selling. I was planning on putting the money towards an apartment complex and had a bunch of plans drawn up for that. Doesn't look like that's going to be able to go through just because of the wild market here and the fact that there are a ton of other investors that are wanting to take that opportunity before me, and those are large, big-time players in the investing realm. So I'm likely going to take the money and proceeds from the house that's on the market and under contract right now and buying an Airbnb in Colorado. Now, my intent there is to be able to go there in the summers and the winters and be able to help offset just the cost of, buying a hotel room or potentially renting someone else's Airbnb. And then the rest of the year, I'm obviously going to rent it out. My intent over the next few years, probably the next decade, is continuing to acquire Airbnbs in places that I enjoy to stay. I would say probably Vegas is going to be the next destination that I get an Airbnb suite and continue to visit and use it as my own. And then when I'm not there, make sure to rent it out. If I'm going to invest locally, though, I don't really see myself investing in a true Airbnb suite. Everything that I own locally here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area will be long-term holds. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on that. I'm loving my house. I can't believe last year went so well, and this house is truly mine. At the end of the day, having a $4,400 mortgage and only paying anywhere from $600 to $1,200 or $1,400, depending on how the Airbnb does, is really a dream come true. And the only way I was able to do that is because of the education and what I was able to learn over the last couple of years and being able to sacrifice with a roommate and an Airbnb, but also because of all the folks I was able to help here locally, whether it buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Now we're gonna go ahead and go to my rental property and give you guys a last update before the thing is finished out. It's headed towards that direction, probably gonna be finished in the next 10 to 14 days. Gonna work on refinancing that, paying back the lender that lent me the money, and hopefully get a tenant in there in the next month or so. All right, guys, we are back at my rental property. If you didn't see my last vlog, I went ahead and fired my last contractor. Since then, fortunately, I had to pay for it, but there's been a lot of work that has been done. This is actually tile that'll be going into the master. The previous contractor purchased the last tile. I wouldn't say it's necessarily what I prefer, but it was cheap. As you can see, we're also in Texas here. It's the middle of summer and it's pouring rain. If you don't live in Texas, this is pretty standard. But we've got a couple things left in the garage here that'll be going inside the house over time. I really wish that I could afford to redo the concrete in the garage. Got a quote for like $12,000. Doesn't make sense financially. All right, so heading into the house itself, we'll go ahead and just get into the thick of it here. Beforehand, there's basically a desk here, and we also wound up kind of opening this more up. My plan here is to have not truly an island, but basically countertops and cabinets here that'll be additional countertop space. In a sense, it'll be like an island with your kind of high top chairs and whatnot. I know I've gone over it before. The previous people, in terms of foundation work, they didn't want to pay for foundation work, so they just threw some extra concrete on here. Well, the foundation has been fixed, and they went ahead and leveled the floor, which is what you can see over here, where even prior to the leveling of the floor, you can see how high the previous concrete went up to and where the previous baseboards are. That's obviously something that will have to get fixed. A lot will be completed once you actually have flooring in here, it'll look way better. But we've obviously got to, it's probably gonna be one of the last things we get done in here once the floor is leveled. Floor has been leveled now, it's just gotta be completed. This bathroom's all but done. We've got to finish up a little bit of tile work in here and then throw in a new toilet and a new vanity. All the bedrooms now have carpet. They've all been painted. I'm gonna do new hardware on the front door of the bedroom as well as the closets. Simple, quick fix just to spruce up the very old, which I guess is kind of trending more in now, but the gold fixtures a lot of this has. We had an electrician come through here, so we've got all new ceiling fans throughout and all of a little bit of recessed lighting where it needs to be. This room has been completed. If you guys do remember when I first filmed, there was also built-ins over here. We went ahead and just kind of buffed those out, repainted this all, kind of a little bit more of a modern touch here. We did leave some of the character in the house, just made it more fresh and new. So moving on to the other two guest bedrooms here. Again, all of these are basically done. This actually does have the new hardware, so you can kind of see the direction we're going here with the black hardware. New fresh paint, new ceiling fan, new carpet, and this actually leads into the bathroom here, which I'm not gonna go stand in, but they had to level this bathroom here as well. All that we really need to do here is tile the shower, put in a double vanity, and lay down the tile on the floor. Should be only a day's worth of work in that bathroom. Now the most, I'll just show you this here real quick. Same thing as the other bedroom. Basically, new paint, new lighting fixture, new hardware. Keeping as many of the doors as possible just to save costs, because at this point, I'm severely over budget. But the thing with this house, I got it at such a good price that even with the amount of work that I'm putting into this house, it's still gonna make sense truly financially for the long term. Now, I would say I'm probably 20 to 25% over my expected budget, but then again too, this house is something I'm gonna hold for decades to come. I know a lot of people out there are flipping homes, and if they were flipping homes, especially on this house, they would be cutting a lot of corners. So with this house, because I'm over budget, there's a couple things that I didn't anticipate or expect. A new foundation work would have to be completed. I got a quote for about $7,500, $7,600 on that. What I didn't anticipate was so much lift in the foundation that there was a significant gap from the actual soil and the foundation, or I guess the foundation of the home, the structure of the home. Wound up costing me another $5,000 just to fill the entire house with enough, I don't even really necessarily know what they put. It's like a thick mud underneath there to make sure that your house isn't just sitting on piers. It's actually got solid, something underneath the foundation. Also knew that plumbing could be an option that needs to be redone. Well, lo and behold, all of the plumbing had to be redone. And none of the plumbing is actually shown, I don't believe. But basically what they did and what they're doing now, actually you can see it here, you just can't see it all, is everything is now, instead of copper, it's PEX. So copper ran through your foundation. So in order to rerun copper, well, you're not rerunning copper, you're installing PEX. You're not gonna install PEX through a foundation. So they actually have hot and cold PEX here running through the attic, and that's through the entire house. PEX is gonna sustain much longer than copper, and it's not going to rust, it's not going to crack, it's not going to break. Now, everything has its own lifespan, but being that I just completed all of the plumbing, I should probably never have any other issues regarding plumbing with this house the entire time I own it. Now on the flip side, in terms of the drain lines, obviously all the drain lines were busted and cracked, and that's why a majority of the foundation was screwed up to begin with. That got replaced as well. All new PVC piping with cleanouts out front. We got a new tub here. As you can see, all of the concrete here has been flushed out and corrected. Now we just need to get floor leveled in here, then we can start doing tile work. So we're rounding up here. I know it looks like there's still a lot to do, which, I mean, technically there is. It's Monday, July, I think 12th is what we're looking at here. My whole goal is still to get it rented sometime in August. So even with the whole mishap of the first contractor, I'm still technically on pace with what I was looking for. The only downside is I'm a little over budget, but that does happen. Now, moving back to the kitchen, Kitchen's gonna be one of the last things that gets completed. Initially, I did want to replace the cabinets. It would be nice to have brand new cabinetry. Well, because I'm so over budget, I'm obviously going to keep and save as much as I can. Like this dishwasher is gonna be saved. All of this cabinetry is gonna be saved, but I am going to go ahead and do new fronts on these cabinets. I've got a carpenter coming, as well as trying to knock down this kind of, look here that was in at this time, but it definitely shows its date, so that way the kitchen can completely look new. I'm gonna go ahead and do new countertops here as well and new appliances. They did have a double oven in here and then a built-in microwave up top. Instead, I'm gonna do a built-in, to be honest with you, a renter doesn't need a double oven, especially at this price point. So I'm just gonna do a built-in oven and a microwave, or an oven and a microwave, and then do a vent hood here for the cooktop. All right, guys, we are headed back from my rental property. As you can see, Texas weather, it is nice and sunny after it was pouring rain. None of the workers were there, but we were able to see how much they did. Actually, a lot has been getting done, but there is still a bit more to be done. He was mentioning that it should be done by the end of next week. I think it's probably a little aggressive, but we will see how that pans out. Now, a couple things that I did want to talk about. I referred to it back in one of my other videos regarding kind of surrounding yourself with the right people. I'm actually going to be selling this car. And by selling this car, this is my Genesis, not my Jeep. My Jeep is a car that I'm gonna have forever. It's gonna be my fun car, although I've used it for work purposes a lot previously. I'm gonna strictly use it for pleasure, for fun. And my Genesis, I kind of just stopped using it. I use it if I'm driving a lot, but a $50,000 to $55,000 Genesis that I'm going to be selling. It's going to roughly cost the same as a brand new BMW X5M. That car is going to run me $130,000 or $140,000. It's basically almost 3 times the price of this car, and yet it's going to cost me the same. And that's the benefit of owning your own company and using it solely for business purposes only, is there are write-offs and advantages of owning your own company, owning your own business. So I actually have a deposit down on that should be coming probably in September. So I'm excited to have a new car, but there's no point in paying 2 car payments and insurance for 2 cars when I can really just use one for now. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is I'm having a client appreciation event on Saturday, and it's going to be a ton of fun. Should have 60 to 70 people out, a ton of people that I don't get to see regularly since I have helped them purchase or sell or even invest here locally in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. I'm gonna be putting out a video and just detailing not just about the particular event that I'm hosting, but just how important it is as a business owner to be able to stay in touch and keep in touch with the people that you've helped. Now, to give you an idea, I just sold a house. We actually closed on Friday. Today's Monday. I helped him purchase that very house 12 months ago. He moved here, him and his wife and their young child moved here from the Northeast, planned on settling down here even though family's not here. And during COVID, they wound up having, or getting pregnant and are in the works of having their second child. And they realize how difficult life is just with one child and no family around. So they decided within just 12 months to sell the house that they bought 12 months prior. Now, in the good market that we're in, they wound up making some money, but on top of that, they wound up referring me their friends. And I actually just went under contract for their friend's house today. Not only am I helping their friends sell their house, but I'm also helping one of them purchase as well, and I'm referring the other one to a good friend of mine. So one potential client turned friend turned into 2 deals with them and 3 deals with their friend. I'll talk about it more on Sunday's video, but I did want to just kind of give a sneak preview of that and just talk briefly about how important relationships are, not necessarily in just the consumer side of a business, making sure like if you own a restaurant, making sure that your, customers that come in and eat your food are happy and will come back, but also making sure that the people that you work with work alongside, whether it be in this instance, a lender or the employees that I, help, or even, my financial advisor or CPA, making sure that you're surrounding yourself with great people, but also making sure that you're bringing value in their life as well.